Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, Carnival Corporation finally had its day in court, or should I say Judge Seitzer had her day in court because she's the one who told Carnival show up or face some jail time. So quickly a recap, Carnival Corporation back in 2016 was found guilty of releasing oily waste in protected waters and then attempting to cover it up. They reached an agreement and they had to pay a $40 million fine, as well as they were put on a 5-year probation. Now, since that time, in the 2 years that have followed, well, I guess it's 3 years going into now, they have been found guilty now 6 times of breaking that probation. And some of those are including falsifying records, going around inspections of the ship, as well as discharging gray water in naturally protected waters like Glacier Bay, where I happen to be at this very moment. The judge, last time when Carnival showed up, there was nobody there from head office. It was just lawyers. There was no president, no CEO, nobody. Judge Seisser demanded that they show up in person today, June 3rd. Well, it'll be yesterday by the time this video comes out. And she wanted to see these people and have them answer for these crimes that they have committed. They've broken up probation that they were already under for the same kind of things that they were already found guilty of. So today in court, as all 6 charges were read out to Arnold Donald, the CEO of Carnival, he stood up on each count and pleaded guilty. And by doing so, he allowed a previous agreement that they just made out between the lawyers and prosecuting attorneys that they will be fined another additional $20 million, now totaling $60 million in fines. But it can get much, much worse than that. A lot of people are saying, well, they'll just pass that $20 million off to the consumer. It's no big deal. They're a billion-dollar corporation. They're the largest cruise company in the world, and this is true. However, this time, by having the CEO come in and guarantee that these things will be looked at, they have built out a game plan where certain things have to be done by certain times this year. I think the latest date would be in October. If certain things are not met, the first fine starts at another $1 million a day until those things are met. If things aren't met by the second date, it can go up to $10 million a day. Judge Seisser listened to Arnold Donald say that they're going to get much better at this. They're going to revamp all their environmental plans. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. And she just kind of sat there and nodded. And then at the end, she says, well, the proof is going to be in the pudding. And that's one of the reasons that she put in those additional consequences. And she's also mentioned that if these things are broken again, if Carnival is found going behind the agreement or trying to lie in documentation again, or worst case scenario, purposely leaking pollutants into a place like Glacier Bay, not only will those fines take effect, but there will be jail time and people will be thrown in jail and arrested in the Carnival Corporation. And now that the CEO has been in court, she was talking to him. Although that would take an awful lot of doing. I imagine the lawyers would be lined up to fight that, as holding a single CEO responsible for an employee doing something, unless there's a direct link saying, yes, he told you to do that. That's a lot. That's a whole different ball of wax. But that does not mean that captains of cruise ships cannot now be thrown in jail, that any investigators that are caught lying or changing documentation for Carnival can now be thrown in jail, etc., etc., down the line. And Judge Seitzer, unfortunately, she's about to retire. The good thing is she's already passed the case on to another judge who was in attendance today, co-proceeding over this procedure, and so there won't be any miscommunications or one judge reading the interpretation one way and this judge reading it another way. They were both in agreement on how this should be structured and how this will be laid out, and they were both in agreement on how the penalties will turn out if Carnival breaks those again in the future. So myself, good news, Carnival is still allowed to stop in U.S. ports. Everyone was talking about, oh, they're going to stop. They're not going to stop. They will fine. They will throw people in jail. They will, ban ships from going into Glacier Bay, but they will not stop Carnival from doing business in the United States, because that's billions of dollars and thousands of jobs. And no government official or judge would ever want that on their head at all. So we knew that probably was never going to happen. But the good thing is, I like that this judge called out the CEOs and has said that this will be raised dramatically in the future if you are caught again. And even though it's hard to hold the CEO accountable, in the back of his mind, you could be darn sure that, you know what, I better be a little more careful in the future. So hopefully Carnival will turn this stuff around and, start being more, environmentally friendly, especially in huge natural areas. We're getting more and more cruise ships all the time. Every year, 20, 25 new ships, and we're losing 3 or 4 that get retired. So we're exponentially growing the number of cruise ships, growing the number of passengers, growing the number of ports. Yes, there's going to be more pollutants out there, but we can still manage those more environmentally friendly. We can make sure we're not dumping where we're not supposed to be dumping. We're not dumping in, on top of coral reefs, and we're not dumping in naturally protected whale feeding grounds. It's as far as I'm concerned, anyone who does that stuff, you've heard me before, throw them in jail. I'm perfectly okay with that. So, although they're not being banned, they're going to pay more money. Probably we're going to pay more money because it always comes down to us paying the bill, right? But hopefully this will stop them in the future. So, well, I hope you liked this news update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.